Good evening, good morning to everyone watching us today. My name is Alexandra Kuzmanovic, and I'm pleased to be joined, as usual, by Dr. Mike Ryan and Dr. Maria van Kerkhove, who will answer your questions today about COVID-19 situation and updates. If you're watching us on Twitter, please use the hashtag AskWHO. If you're watching us on other platforms, please leave your questions via comment section. Good afternoon, Mike, Maria. Thank you for your time. The cases are on the rise. The COVID-19 cases are on the rise globally again. So I'll give the floor to you to give us the more detailed update, and also what are your views in where is this pandemic heading at the moment?
I'll start. The pandemic is heading in the wrong direction at the moment, but I will end this, my intervention by saying we have tools that can turn it around. We are seeing cases and deaths increase again for the fourth week in a row. More than 3.3 million new cases reported to WHO, and just under 50,000 new deaths reported in the last 7 days alone. This is the fourth week of increasing cases. It's the fourth week of increasing deaths. The global situation, by region, of course, is variable. Out of those 3.3 million cases reported in the last week, more than 2.1 million were reported in Europe alone. It's an 8% increase over the last week. More than half of the deaths in the last week reported in Europe alone. The 5% increase in deaths in Europe in the last 7 days. In the Americas, another 8% increase, although they are seeing a slight decrease in deaths. In the Western Pacific, a 6% increase in deaths over the last week. Africa, we've seen a sharp decline in cases over the last week. But we know reporting and testing around the world is spotty. We don't have strong surveillance systems in all countries. We do have a lack of testing happening in a lot of countries as well. If I can say anything that we do see that is positive, is that we still see quite a strong signal in the data that people who are vaccinated are far less likely to be hospitalized and far less likely to die. And that is holding up in all of the data that we are seeing in countries. But of course, vaccination has to reach those who are most at risk in all countries. And what we're seeing is that those deaths that are happening from the countries where we have data, it's largely happening among those who are unvaccinated. And this is really critical because it's a tool that is widely available, not in all countries, however. So we are concerned about what we are seeing across Europe. There are different situations across Europe, and of course there are many countries across the European region, from the west to the east. And there are countries that have high vaccination coverage and are seeing a significant decline in deaths. We do see other countries that high access to vaccines, but low vaccination coverage. And those countries are, again, seeing a lot of transmission that is happening, surges in transmission, as well as increases in deaths.